Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're talking the Marvel Civil War movie in our march to Infinity War. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. Today we're going to be doing a quick review of Marvel's Captain America Civil War movie, which is based on this comic book, but really has nothing to do with it other than the two sides fighting each other and the last cover. If I can open it in time, I can't. Anyway, the image of Cap and Iron Man going like this and the shield and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, they took this concept, which is a great concept, and you need to read this yourself if you have not already read it. They took this concept and threw it out, basically, and said, we're going to make this a love letter to Bucky Cap. And that's what Civil War turned out to be. So you have the guys from Winter Soldier coming back to direct. The Russo brothers are also directing the upcoming Infinity War. And they are so in love with Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. They made Civil War all about the Winter Soldier. And basically, it's Cap versus Iron Man. And having to register the superpowers as a fallout of Sokovia being dropped on the Earth and being destroyed in Avengers Age of Ultron. But Bucky Cap gets controlled, or somebody frames him for murder. The King of Wakanda, T'Chaka, is killed, and that's our introduction to Black Panther. He's out for revenge. And basically, Cap and Tony, they start off as an initial discussion on having to register with the United Nations in the movie, and their disagreement about that. But eventually, that stuff's kind of thrown away. They talk about it a little bit. You have the two black characters talking about this thing. You have War Machine arguing with Falcon on the other side of it. The pros and cons of registration. And there's a lot more interesting discussion in this book about how superheroes should register or shouldn't register, and what the benefits are and what the repercussions are, and a little bit of explanation of that idea in this book. I mean, this book is a great book. Written by Mark Millar, art by Steve McNiven, inks by Dexter Vines, colors by Maury Hollowell. This book is just flat out gorgeous. Gorgeous. And we just have to put it aside and talk about it for another day, because basically they didn't care. Or didn't have enough characters, or really didn't have enough characters to really call this a war. I would call this a civil skirmish, a civil disagreement, because basically you have Cap and Iron Man butting heads over what to do with Bucky because they think he murdered somebody. And then in the end, it's not about that at all. It's about Cap and Iron Man fighting over Bucky again because they made Bucky be the killer of Howard and Maria Stark. So that's new to the MCU. That's not in the comic books at all. So does it have anything to do with Civil War, the comic book? No way. Well, we will see in Infinity War if they continue this Sokovia Accords thing in the storyline. I don't think I've heard it mentioned in any of the movies since then. So it'll be interesting to see where everybody stands from that. But absolutely, if you're going to watch Infinity War, you should rewatch Captain America Civil War, because all the characters on the board are pretty much in that movie, and where they stand, that's what you need to watch. So I would highly recommend you rewatch that before Infinity War comes out April 27th, 2018. Bing. So let's talk about the movie. This movie still is a lot of fun, though. It still is a lot of fun. There's a lot of really good action set pieces. The stairway fight with Cap and Bucky versus the police. The chase scene with Black Panther through the highway and stuff with Bucky and Cap is really good. The airport fight with the two sides coming together in this giant scene, boom, that's great. Spider-Man's introduction in this movie, along with Black Panther's introduction, are also great. So I'm not poo-pooing the movie, I'm poo-pooing the fact that they co-opted the name of the biggest event Marvel's had in their comic books, and one of the most revered and special things, that they co-opted it into a Captain America movie. It's not bad necessarily, because Cap is one of the main characters in the comic book, but the fact that they co-opted it and totally decided to make it all about Bucky is what I'm most disinterested in and most disappointed in. But the movie on itself is a really good movie, and you should go check it out. if I had to rate it, I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars, maybe 4.5. Let's go with 4. It's a good movie, really good movie. It's just not the Civil War adaptation I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen less Bucky argument, more argument about the disagreement of sides on whether to register with the UN and whether or not to register with the UN. In the comics, it's about superhero registration with the US government and S.H.I.E.L.D. Basically, everybody becomes an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and has oversight and things like that. Whereas it was kind of weird in the Avengers movie, in the Captain America movie that we're talking about, a council of the UN, special counsel, was going to assign them assignments. And that sounds really slow to me. If the idea with the S.H.I.E.L.D. thing is there's the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he or she would assign missions to individual people, agents, Avengers, whatever, and they would go and deploy it almost immediately. Whereas like a UN council doesn't sound like an immediate threat assessment or immediate assignment. Whereas so there's kind of like in the comic book, it's really interesting because you can see both sides. In this movie, you can't really see both sides because they made it so much about Bucky that Iron Man is almost played to the villain, even though he is they do give him that sympathetic thing with his parents dying at Bucky's hands. So there's that. This movie also does something with Baron Zemo, or Zemo in just the film. Baron Zemo in the comics is like a purple hood with just 2 little white eye holes. He's a Nazi. His dad was a Nazi back in World War II, and he's kind of like out for revenge against Captain America because Captain America helped his dad die or something like that, whatever. In this movie, he's just a Sokovian citizen who lost his family in the battle during Age of Ultron and wants revenge on the Avengers for that tragic loss. So he's more sympathetic a little bit, but he's totally separate from the Baron Zemo from the comics, which is a little disappointing because in the comic books, Baron Zemo is one of like Cap's main rogues. You know, his main bad guy is Baron Zemo and stuff like that. So we'll see where the Captain America movies go from here. If they do go anywhere, Chris Evans is done after Avengers 4. So that's my primer on Civil War. Go check it out. Captain America 3, Civil War. That's it. So thanks everybody for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.